You know that feeling, right? The comforting warmth from a simple touch? Or maybe that strange energy you feel in a crowded room. What if our hands hold a power that's way beyond what we can see? In this explainer, we're diving into Barbara Brennan's Hands of Light. It's a book that suggests our hands aren't just physical tools, but are actually powerful instruments for perceiving and channeling a universal life force, a literal light, to help us heal.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get into the whole idea of a world of energy and look at some pretty incredible real-life examples. Then, we're going to map out the unseen, the human aura and its energy centers. We'll take a peek through what's called the healer's inner vision, figure out how healing hands are supposed to work, and then we'll get practical with some exercises you can try. And finally, we'll pull back to see how all of this connects to a much bigger journey of healing and self-discovery.
All right, so where do you even start with a concept as kind of mind-bending as energy healing? Well, the author, Barbara Brennan, doesn't start with a bunch of abstract theories. Nope, she starts with people, with these amazing real-life stories that really push the limits of what we think is possible when it comes to our health.
And this is really the question at the heart of it all. Are our hands just, physical tools for grabbing stuff and feeling textures, or are they conduits for something way more subtle, way more powerful? Hands of Light makes a pretty bold claim that our hands can actually interact with the very blueprint of our health.
The book kicks off with these remarkable, medically verified cases. You've got Jenny, who was told she'd need a hysterectomy, but later gives birth to a healthy baby boy. Or Howard, a retired guy whose constant heart pain just disappeared, letting him get back to dancing. These aren't just feel-good stories. They're the evidence that makes you want to dig deeper into what's really going on here.
Okay, and here's something that's super important to get out of the way. The author herself says this over and over. This is all for informational purposes. It is absolutely not a substitute for professional medical advice. The book itself is very clear that you should always see a doctor for any health concerns and before you try any of these exercises. Seriously. So if our hands can heal, what are they actually working on? To get that, we need to explore our energetic anatomy, this invisible structure of energy that, according to Brennan, surrounds and flows right through our physical body.
The main idea here is the human energy field, which most of us know as the aura. And it's not just a simple glow. It's described as a complex, multi-layered body of light and energy. Brennan's whole theory is that the state of this field, its balance, its flow, its clarity, is directly tied to our physical, emotional, and mental health.
Now, inside this energy field, you've got 7 major energy centers, or chakras. Just imagine them as these spinning vortexes that pull in and process energy from the universe. And as you can see, each one is connected to a different part of who we are. From the root chakra, which is all about basic survival, all the way up to the crown chakra, our connection to our spiritual side. Think of them as the power stations for our energetic body.
And, believe it or not, it gets even more detailed. The aura itself is said to have 7 different layers, and each one vibrates at a higher frequency as you move out from the physical body. So you've got the etheric body, which deals with physical sensations, then the emotional and mental bodies for feelings and thoughts, all the way out to the etheric template, which is our link to the divine mind. Each layer is like a whole different dimension of our being.
Okay, so if this super complex energy field actually exists, how in the world does a healer see it? How do they spot imbalances and work with something that's invisible to most of us? Well, this is where a really unique kind of perception comes into play.
Brennan calls this ability high sense perception, or HSP. It's kind of like seeing with your mind's eye, perceiving this world of energy directly. And she's very clear, this is not just your imagination running wild, it's seeing a tangible reality. The key thing she says, though, is that this isn't some rare psychic gift. It's a skill that anyone can actually train and develop.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the contrast here. Normal sight sees a symptom, a tumor, inflammation, chronic pain. But this internal vision, using HSP, sees what came before that. It sees the energetic source, a dark spot in the aura, a clogged or distorted chakra, an energy block that was probably there long before any physical disease ever showed up.
And this illustration from the book just nails the concept. This is what Brennan calls spiritual surgery. You can see the healer's physical hands are on the body, sure, but then you see their etheric hands, along with the spiritual guide's energy, working directly on that spinning vortex of the patient's chakra. It's healing at the blueprint level.
So once a healer has this internal vision, what do they actually do with their hands? It's not just about, placing them on someone. It's a very specific, methodical process of cleaning out and restructuring that person's entire energy field.
The process is called full spectrum healing, and it's basically a 4-step journey. First is alignment, getting the healer, the patient, and the universal energy field all synced up. Then comes the main event, chelation. This is where the healer's hands act like energy magnets, pulling out stagnant or diseased energy and then charging the field back up with fresh, vibrant energy. After that, they restructure any damaged parts of the aura and finally seal the whole field to lock in the healing work.
This illustration shows the process at its absolute deepest level. What you're seeing here is work being done on the etheric template. That's the golden grid-like structure on the 7th layer of the aura. It's like the perfect original blueprint for our physical body. The healer's hands are literally restructuring the energetic pattern of the lymphatic system, which allows the physical body to remember its original, healthy design and start to realign with it.
Now, I know this all might sound super abstract, but Hands of Light isn't just theory. It's also a workbook. The book is packed with exercises to help you start developing your own sensitivity to this whole world of energy.
A really core message in Hands of Light is that these abilities aren't for a select few. They're built into all of us. The book gives you a whole series of exercises designed to wake up your own perception of the energy that's flowing through you and all around you. Here's a super simple one you can try right now. Just hold your palms facing each other a few inches apart, and then slowly move them closer together and then farther apart. A lot of people say they feel a kind of pressure, or a tingling, or warmth, almost like static electricity. According to Brennan, what you're feeling are the edges of your own energy field. And to take it even further, the book lays out these specific posture and breathing exercises for each chakra. So for the root chakra, it's a spinal flex to help ground your energy. For the heart, you do this bear grip pull, which helps open up your ability to connect with others. For the throat, it's another spinal flex, but focused higher up, to help with self-expression. They're all designed to physically open and charge up your energy centers.
So, all of this brings us to the ultimate goal of this work. And it's not just about fixing symptoms or feeling a little better. It's about a massive shift in how we see ourselves and our place in the universe.
And this is probably the most powerful idea in the whole book. Healing, from this perspective, isn't about becoming someone new or better. It's a process of remembering. It's about peeling back all the layers of trauma, fear, and limiting beliefs to get back in touch with the perfect, whole, and luminous being you've always been deep down. And that leaves us with a really deep question to think about. If you started to see yourself not just as a physical body, but as this dynamic field of energy and light, what would change for you? What old limitations might just fall away? What new possibilities for health, for growth, for connection might open up?